The Ferdinand Police Department prepares to search for a new police chief. A look at the new Center for Technology, Innovation and Manufacturing at WJTS, and Kurt Guxell brings us highlights from Jasper Baseball's game versus Boonville in sports. Those stories and much more are coming up next here on 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. In your news, the Ferdinand Police Department will soon begin the search for a new police chief. During last night's regularly scheduled meeting, the Ferdinand Town Council voted to accept the reassignment of current Police Chief Ted Beaker to a regular officer, in spite of several objections from the public in attendance. Beaker had originally been asked to resign by the Town Council, and in the end he agreed to accept being reassigned from Police Chief to a regular police officer. Ferdinand Town Council President Ken Seacard says Beaker will remain as chief through the end of the day tomorrow, after which he will be reassigned to his former rank as a captain within the department. Beaker has been with the Ferdinand Police Department for 24 years and had been the chief of police in Ferdinand since April of 2004. In a letter which he read aloud to the council, he pointed to the achievements of the department during his tenure as reason that he should have been allowed to remain in his role as police chief. He also discussed tensions between himself and members of the town council, as well as between himself and Ferdinand town manager Mark Stedzik, that he felt did not allow him to fulfill the duties of his job. Seacard cited a personal issue that he couldn't discuss publicly as the reason for making this decision on Beaker. He says current second-in-command Rob Randall will be asked to assume the role of interim police chief effective on Friday and lasting through the duration of the search for a permanent chief. Seacard says the search process will involve inquiries to outside candidates, as well as evaluating some officers within the department for the job. He says the search will also need to move faster than a regular search of this type normally would.
You know, we're going to ask around just to see who's available out there, and we'll look at our internal officers also to determine will they be able to make the transition that we're looking for. And you know, we're going to try to speed it up. As I said, I've been working with Ted or talking to Ted on and off over some period of time, and now I will need to move forward and determine, you know, where do we go from here. And I'll get back with the rest of the council, and you know, we'll have a meeting to discuss what we found.
Seacard says he is hoping to have a new chief in place by the next town council meeting, which is scheduled for June 11th. Seacard says the next chief will have to be able to manage people and have experience in law enforcement.
Basically, a manager of people, you know, someone who can work with all the officers and you know, be able to get things done that we need to get done. Just basically someone with some police experience. You know, we're going to want somebody who has been a police officer in his you know, time, and will help us move forward.
Also last night, the council voted to finalize the sale of the old police station. Paul Gogel's bid of $42,500, which was submitted just prior to the closing of bidding on the building last month, was accepted as final, thus officially ending the sale process for the old police station building. Gogel's bid became the highest bid remaining in the process last month after the council allowed original high bidder Roger Quanti to withdraw his high bid, which was made in the name of his son Curtis, of $57,400. This decision was also met with opposition by the public in attendance, with one citizen even calling it quote-unquote too cheap of a sale. Other items covered during last night's meeting included an update on the town pedestrian and bike trail project and updates on rate studies for water and sewer in the town. A new building is now open on the Vincennes University Jasper campus. Yesterday morning, VUJC dedicated its new Center for Technology, Innovation and Manufacturing building, or CTIM. VUJC Dean Dr. Alan Johnson says the building fills a void in the VUJC curriculum.
What this does for the VUJC and for the community is it fills a hole in our programming in that we will now be able to do much more to help local manufacturers. When you look at the workforce in this area, Du Bois County and the 8 counties that surround us, we are heavily dependent on manufacturing. About 40% or more of our workforce is in manufacturing, where the state average is about 20%. So it's important for us to be able to provide the kinds of services in the way of education and training for that workforce.
The new building dedication included a ribbon-cutting ceremony and a key presentation to the Board of Trustees, courtesy of VU Vice President for Financial Services and Government Relations, Philip Raths. Other notable attendees at the dedication included Indiana Lieutenant Governor Sue Ellspermann, District 48 State Senator Lindell Hume, Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner, Jasper Mayor Terry Seitz, Spinner and Seitz are both Vincennes grads, and various other city and county officials. The 57,000 square foot center will feature 6 large lab areas, 1 lecture hall, classrooms, computer labs, and offices. Ray Niehaus, a former Project Lead the Way instructor for Forest Park High School, will serve as the center's new programming director. The center was built at a cost of $12 million, $8 million of which was state funding. The grand opening celebration continues throughout the rest of the week with educational events for younger students, a mobile app programming session on Friday for high school students, and a family open house on Saturday. The Jasper Police Department has added a new member to its telecommunications team. Yesterday morning, Jasper Police Chief Mike Bennett asked for and received approval from the Jasper Board of Public Works to hire Brittany Miller as a probationary telecommunications officer. Miller, a graduate of Perry Central High School, recently received her degree in law enforcement from Vincennes University. Bennett says Miller was the leading candidate in the department's interviewing process that included roughly a dozen applicants, 5 of which were interviewed for the position. Miller's appointment brings the total number of telecommunicators staff in the Jasper Police Department to 6. Miller lives in Ferdinand with her husband Chris, who is an EMT with Memorial Hospital in Jasper. She started her new job today. Meanwhile, Jasper Police Chief Mike Bennett gave the board an update on the ongoing replacement process for 2 officers who recently left the department. Bennett says 104 applications were sent out by request and 45 of those were returned. Of the 45 returned, 33 applicants were brought in for initial testing, and 15 of the initially tested applicants have been invited to proceed through the process of more interviews. Bennett says obviously the department is looking for the best of the best.
So after the agility and aptitude test, we decided on taking those that scored in the 90 percentile range on the aptitude test, which consisted of originally 16 individuals, but 1 individual has already accepted a position with another agency. So we're down to 15, and we're looking for the most qualified individual that we can to serve the citizens of Jasper and the Jasper Police Department.
Bennett says he plans to make recommendations to the BPW in the next couple of months and to bring the total number of road officers in the department up to 21. The 2 current openings came about due to the recent retirement of Sergeant Jeff Carey and the resignation of Patrolman David Drew. Opponents of a proposed fertilizer plant in Spencer County are pointing to last month's deadly fertilizer manufacturer's explosion in West Texas as an example of why such a plant should not be built in Spencer County. Opponents, including Evansville-based environmental organization Valley Watch, say the plant should be halted due to the scale of this plant, as well as one that had been proposed for Posey County that has already been put on hold, are much larger proposals by scale alone than the plant in Texas that blew up. Another complaint of the Spencer County project's opponents is that the new plant would be built near the proposed Rockport coal gasification plant, though that plant is now in limbo because of a measure approved by lawmakers, which brings the project back for further review. Environmentalists have argued that fertilizer plants, such as those being proposed, include nitric acid and ammonia as ingredients for the fertilizer. The fertilizer that would be produced at the plant would have potential to become flammable, especially when dry. There are currently no fertilizer plants in the state of Indiana, but roughly 1,000 locations encompassing cooperatives and farms store or mix enough of their own fertilizer to warrant the requirement of state inspection. The inspections are handled through the state chemist's office at Purdue University in conjunction with the state fire marshal. And finally tonight, a national pizza chain opened the doors of its new Jasper franchise this morning. The Jasper franchise for Little Caesars opened for business for the first time at 11 a.m. this morning. The new restaurant is located in the 3100 block of North Newton Street in Jasper, near the Hammerhead Bar and Grill. Rob and Lisa Harris are running the Jasper franchise. They also own a Little Caesars franchise in Bardstown, Kentucky, and recently relocated to Jasper after living in Richmond, Kentucky. In addition to the pizza, the restaurant will serve 8 different flavors of Caesar wings, along with crazy bread and various Caesar dips for the bread. The specialty of this Little Caesars franchise, and for the company as a whole, is hot and ready cheese and pepperoni pizzas. Specialty pizzas such as the 3-meat treat and the Hula Hawaiian pizza are also available. The Jasper Little Caesars will offer drive-through and pickup services. The hours for the new location will be from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Sundays through Thursdays of every week, and from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. The new restaurant can be reached at the number listed on your screen. You can find a full menu for Little Caesars at the web address listed on your screen. Coming up after the break, rain chances linger over the next few days of your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform featuring Indiana Lieutenant Governor Sue Ellspermann. That's all coming up next here on 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.